Hello, good morning, good afternoon, whatever time you're watching this. We're going to start the next chapter, which is chapter 20, that's the one. So we're going to start with the chapter on probability. Now, the beginning bit is going to be very simple, very easy. Just a recap of stuff from previous years. This is common to both foundation and higher, so we're going to do that, and eventually we will separate our ways and we will look at different things. So, I'm not going to start from the very beginning of the chapter, but from the second section, because I think it just flows better. We're going to be looking at mutually exclusive outcomes. So, before we go into any examples, before I do any questions here, there's some definitions that you need to have very clear in your heads. First of all, what is an event? An event is something that happens that could have different outcomes, different results. So for instance, flipping a coin could be the event, and the result, the outcome, we don't know for sure. So there are certain probabilities for the different results, the different outcomes. Rolling a dice would be another event with 6 possible outcomes. If the dice is fair, the probability of each outcome happening would be the same. Another event could be, who's the next person that's going to walk through the door? Is it going to be a girl or a boy or a teacher? Anything like that. The outcomes, like I said, are the results of that event, the possible results. So my event could be rolling a dice, and the outcomes would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, assuming I've got a normal 6-sided dice. For those of you into role-playing games, you know full well there is more than just a normal 6-sided dice. And what are mutually exclusive outcomes? Now this is really important to understand. Mutually exclusive outcomes are the outcomes, so the results, the possible results of an event, the outcomes where if one outcome happens, the other ones cannot happen. So, if I roll a dice, the outcomes are mutually exclusive. Because if I roll a 3, the 1, the 2, the 4, the 5 and the 6 cannot happen at the same time. If I roll a 5, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 6 cannot happen at the same time. So, mutually exclusive outcomes. Apologies for the noise, now is the time to stop blowing the leaves. Anyway, mutually exclusive outcomes. If one happens, the other outcomes cannot happen. Now, we also know, we should know, that the probabilities are spelling. There's an H somewhere there. I'll have to Google it. I'll have to Google it. There you go. I knew there was an H somewhere there. Spelling is important. Exhaustive probabilities mean that they have to add up to 1, basically. We have to cover all possible eventualities, all possible outcomes. So, on my third dice, assuming that the probability of each outcome is 1 in 6, six-sixths add up to 1. If I got a coin, assuming it's a fair coin, it's a 50-50 chance, 50 plus 50 is 100%. So, here I've got the different possible probabilities in which people choose food or their breakfast from a cafe. Because I'm that kind of person that's bored, sits down at a cafe and works out the probability of the food chosen by different customers. So 30% of customers choose sausages, 40% fish fingers, 0.1, 10% bacon and eggs. So what's the probability that someone will pick cereal for breakfast? Well, we know the probabilities are exhaustive, that means they must add up to 1. So 0.3 plus 0.4 plus 0.1 is 0.8. The probability of picking cereals is 0.2. Then, what is, and that's it. Now, let's say, this is kind of a common question in the exam, you have seen it before. Say we've got 300 customers at the cafe over the day, BC Cafe. How many will choose fish fingers for breakfast? Well, I've got 300 customers, 0.4 or 40% of them choose fish fingers for breakfast. All I have to do is find 40% of 300, so all I have to do is multiply together, and the answer would be 120 people. The probabilities could be given to you as a fraction, in which case it just works in exactly the same way. If that was 4 out of 10 or 2 over 5, and I got 300 customers, 300 times 2 is 600, divided by 5, 120. Right, it's going down. Anyway, so that is it for now. Very simple, very easy, just to start. Have clear in your mind what's an event, what are the outcomes, what do mutually exclusive outcomes mean, what does it mean that the probabilities are exhaustive. Very simple, just to get us going on a Friday after exams. Let's just take some time.